explore what opportunities are there for South African farms, specifically their farms. And he wanted to understand the lay of the land. He wanted to understand what we Kenyans are about. So SEIDELS is not unique as a law firm from South Africa. We do have other law firms from South Africa. But what makes SEIDELS unique is the fact that it's actually based in Cape Town. And so I had an encounter with him, and we explored an opportunity for SEIDELS to, open its branch in Nairobi, Kenya. And so I happened to be the one who's leading the office here in Kenya. So please allow me to talk briefly about our farm. So SEIDELS, as I said, is a Pan-African IP firm, currently with over 130 people. And it started as a small law firm in about 18 years ago, to be precise. We turned legal this year. And so the firm has grown, of course, with its headquarters in South Africa. Kenya is the newest kid on the block. We barely turned 1 year. We have an office in Namibia serving the ARIPO region. So allow me to be a bit technical. So ARIPO basically stands for Africa Regional Intellectual Property Organization. So it exists to serve the English-speaking part of Africa. So it has a number of member countries, Namibia, Uganda, Tanzania, Botswana, among others. So our office serves that part of Africa. Then we have an office in Cameroon. So OAP is a French word. I shall not attempt to say that, to speak out the acronym in French, but basically it's Africa Regional Intellectual Property, but just in French. And Cameroon, basically, OAP is the French-speaking part of Africa. So our office services that part of Africa. And then we have Nigeria. We have an office in Nigeria as well. So basically, all these offices are strategic because, give or take, that's about 80% of Africa. So we'll be able to represent you in about 80% of Africa. So then again, the main purpose of my presentation basically is just to briefly introduce IP considerations. So whether you are offering a product or a service, you cannot overlook intellectual property rights. And I'm also very careful because I know some companies are already aware the various IP rights that you can explore. And I'll not get into the details of each. This can take quite a long time, and I'm very conscious of time. But let me speak about trademarks. So trademarks basically is a distinguishing sign. So what is it that distinguishes your products from that of another person? It's by a brand. And you can offer the same thing, but what makes a consumer pick your goods over the other is the fact that they can associate some level of quality from your products compared to another. And we cannot ignore the fact that we live in a knowledge economy. And intellectual property rights is basically what drives the economy. That's the creations of the human mind. And when I look around, I've not had an opportunity to visit the various businesses, but what you're selling basically is an idea, something that is different. You're offering something that is different compared to another organization. So Westgrow can share a little brochure that we've prepared just to highlight the things that you need to take note of. And this not just applies to South African companies, but also the Kenyan companies. And I'm also aware some companies here we've had the privilege of working with, and some have also expressed interest to just work with our firm. So I'll just focus on, so basically my very brief presentation was just to highlight that we have existing laws that protect the various aspects of intellectual property rights, the enabling provisions of the law, the duration, just something to pick keep your mind as you explore the various protections. So I'm just going to focus on customs recordation, because if you're intending to bring goods to Kenya, this is a mandatory provision in our law that your products, your brand has to be registered or recorded with the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. Otherwise, they're going to seize your goods. So that's very important for businessmen and women who are bringing goods and services to Kenya to just be mindful of. Data protection and privacy. We have a very active Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. So if you have business that involves some aspect of data collection, data processing, then this is a law that you do not want to ignore. We've had quite a number of interesting cases where companies are being caught, not complying with the laws. So as far as your business are concerned, especially if you're in tech-related online platform, e-commerce, I just felt I needed to just highlight that. And maybe if I could offer some form of advice. And the reason why I began by saying that when our managing partner, Bastian Costa, visited Nairobi, just wanted to understand what is peculiar about the Kenyan people. And I think it's very important what Westgrow is doing, so you come and understand what Kenyans are about. I like to say we are a peculiar people. In the way we accept businesses. We are very warm, but I think businesses prefer some form of localization, like something that I can relate with, just from the name of the brand, or by using, we have our language has evolved. Kiswahili is Sheng, we have Sheng, so I feel like there's a generation that resonates with certain words that are used. From an IP perspective, I would just encourage businesses to be cautious, to do your due diligence when you're engaging influencers to do marketing for you, because you don't want to be caught infringing on another person's IP rights. As we wait for the slides to come up, so from an enforcement perspective, you'll see in my slides, I've just highlighted the various institutes or organizations or state bodies that you might be involved with when it comes to enforcement. And the reason why I put that in my slide is because IP rights are private rights. So there is no one who's going to come and check whether or not someone else is infringing on your rights. It's your responsibility as a rights holder to monitor how your rights are being used. So one of the key institutions, the Kenya Industrial Property Institute, abbreviated as KIPI. There we are. Then we have the Kenya Copyright Board that administers copyright and related rights. We have, for those who are in agribusiness, we have KEFIS, which administers plant breeders' rights. Then obviously Anti-Counterfeit Authority, purposes of IP rights recordation. Then our judiciary is pretty conversant when it comes to matters involving IP disputes, and we also have specialized tribunals for both industrial properties and copyrights. Kenya is a member of international treaties, those that are listed there. So if you want to go global, you can take advantage of the Madrid Protocol. But I hasten to mention that South Africa is not a member of the Madrid Protocol. So we can advise you on strategy, like file in Kenya, then now you can go to the rest of the world. So just some few practical consideration. Our courts can enforce our damages, compliance, just monitor, certain things, renewal, custom recordation. On commercialization, sometimes you may not want to set up shop here, so you prefer to take advantage of IP licensing or franchising. We've seen that happening quite a lot. And just to conclude on strategy, just remember that IP rights are private rights, and it's your responsibility as a right holder to ensure that you actively monitor your rights, because infringement really is quite rampant. If I like your brand, I'm going to use it, or as we like to loosely say, I'm going to steal your idea. So if you don't protect it, you're going to lose it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be around in case anyone has any questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I wish you fruitful discussions, and I hope that you enjoy your stay in Nairobi. Thank you.